Hey everyone, welcome back to News BLADI. Today's story is shaking Washington, and maybe the entire country. Congress has officially moved to force the release of the long-awaited Epstein files. And all eyes are now on Donald Trump as pressure mounts on the White House. What's coming out? Who's involved? And why is this happening right now? Let's break it down.
The bill to force the Justice Department to release all its files in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation is expected to land on President Trump's desk this morning. He said he will sign it. He hasn't said exactly when. What we do know is that this is a stunning reversal for the party and the president, who had tried to block the release for months. For survivors of Epstein's abuse, who have fought for years for justice, this is an enormous victory. Still, there is skepticism about what happens after the president puts pen to paper to make the files public. With me now is attorney James Marsh. He is representing victims of Jeffrey Epstein. You represent many clients, including Maria Farmer, who was the very first person to have reported to the FBI that she suffered abuse by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell back in 1996. I'm just curious how she is responding, seeing what is happening with Congress and the promise by the president to sign this.
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's really sort of miraculous what's happened to her in the last few days. She's had a great deal of health problems. She's been suffering physically from this for a long time. And she got a report just a few days ago that many of her test results are positive for the first time in many, many years. So this is a real manifestation not only of the toll that it takes on victims and survivors, but how, the move towards justice and accountability can really make, in this case, a physical difference on her health. So she's very, very happy for what happened yesterday, with the realization that this is really only the beginning. You said all the files? Well, that's a big definition, all the files.
Yes. I do want to talk about what she told our Erin Burnett. She spoke to her for the very first time publicly, and she talked about this encounter that she had after being called to Epstein's offices in New York when Donald Trump, she says, showed up. Here's what she said.
Trump's standing here, I'm here, and he walks out of his office and he goes, "Oh, no. He was laughing at me. And he goes, "She's not here for you. Follow me," right? And he escorts him in to this other room. But he made a joke to Epstein, "Oh, I thought she was 16.
Now, the White House is denying all of this, saying Trump was never in Epstein's offices. He's calling the Epstein files a Democratic hoax, and he's now pushing the DOJ to investigate Democrats only and their involvement with Epstein. When you put all that together, including their denial, are your clients and you confident that you're going to see all the files? The DOJ is not going to cherry pick any of this and release them all?
No, we're not confident. I mean, that's the easy answer. Our clients are not stupid. The American people are not naive. They know that it's taken decades, in many cases, to get to this point. And a curious aside about the president, he was a Democrat at the time, if you recall, before he became a Republican. So whether or not this is a Democratic hoax, a Republican hoax, you can change your party, you can change your tune, but you can't really change what's in the files. And our clients know that, and we feel that we've jumped the first hurdle, and we're at the sort of the end of the beginning. This is no way over by any measure.
You have filed suit against the United States government, particularly in Maria's case. What is it that you are suing for against the government, and what ultimately does justice look like for your clients?
There's been a lot of budding accountability on the part of the banks. We've seen those lawsuits. We've seen the emails come out from the estate. There have been other lawsuits against private individuals. What we do not know is what is in the federal government files. It's very important to remember that the files that were released were from the estate. All those emails, all those revelations that took the world by storm, 3 days ago, here we are. We don't know what's in the government files, so we really feel that that is the missing piece of accountability. In 1996, when Maria Farmer made her report, Jeffrey Epstein was already under investigation as part of the Tower financial scandal. He was also under investigation and was sued by the State Department that leased him the former Iranian consulate in New York City. These are facts that people have long forgotten, but we want to go back to the beginning, find out that what law enforcement knew, I'm very happy that they listened, and the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York also has to release their litigation files. There's a huge record in the government files on Jeffrey Epstein, and we want to know who facilitated and who contributed to his rise to power. We think that will be found in the government files, and we hope for some government accountability and the creation of a fund or some kind of means to compensate these victims for the government's failure.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much there, and we heard from the victims with just stunningly emotional comments about how they have tried to survive all of this, and they're finally getting a little bit
it's been decades
of
many
relief,
of them.
at least some acknowledgement here.
Yes.
James Marsh, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll be talking to you.
Thank you for your coverage, and keep on this story. I don't think we're near the end, anywhere near the end.
Thank you. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
We will.
The bill to force the Justice Department to release all its Jeffrey Epstein files, it has passed both houses of Congress and will become law when the president signs it. Now, he says he will, but when and how? Unclear. Now, he does like public signings. This year, we've seen him hold signing ceremonies for such things as restoring the presidential fitness test. That's right there. He did a signing ceremony for the Genius Act, a cryptocurrency regulation law. He signed a slew of executive orders on camera on Inauguration Day, of course, including a pardon for the January 6th rioters. So, can we expect the same kind of public display when he signs the Epstein bill? Let's see. With us now, CNN political commentators Bakari Sellers and Scott Jennings. Scott is also the author of the brand new book, like out yesterday?
Yes, sir.
A Revolution of Common Sense, How Donald Trump Stormed Washington and Fought for Western Civilization. Soon-to-be best-selling author Scott Jennings, I'll go first to you. Will the president storm into a signing ceremony for this Epstein law? Do we expect the same kind of public attention as is given to the Fitness Act?
Yeah, great question. I don't know. I personally wouldn't expect a lot of fanfare. I mean, it feels to me like they're just in, okay, fine, let's get this over with mode. And so, but I don't really know. I haven't asked them and I haven't heard.
Why just get over it? Why not embrace it as something to shine the light on what all these women we saw yesterday were calling for?
Well, look, I think there's two things going on here. They deserve all of the justice and attention that they should want or should get because of what happened to them. I still am a little puzzled why they and the members of Congress that they've been working with haven't just told the public, what they know about who was involved in this, but that's their prerogative. But at the same time, Trump, look, he thinks all of this has been ginned up to create a narrative about him that isn't true. Democrats want people to believe he had something to do with this when he had nothing to do with it. And at the same time, we are finding out that even after Trump excommunicated Jeffrey Epstein from his life, Democrats continue to remain close to Jeffrey Epstein. But in Trump's mind, the narrative is he is somehow involved in this, right, even though we have Democrats fundraising with Epstein, we have Epstein programming congressional Democrats like Stacey Plaskett, and on and on and on. So I think it's become a source of frustration for him on the political narrative.
But it was the Trump administration in July that decided not to release this after, of course, they said they were going to, and after President Trump was informed that his name was in the Epstein files. Bakari Sellers, to you also, Bakari, I should say, an author of, I think, at least 3 books at this point, including 1 children's books and 2 grown-up books. Great to have so many fantastic authors on the show this morning. What do you expect the president now to do with this, either publicly, and what do you expect will happen in the Justice Department in the coming days?
First of all, congratulations, Scott, on your book coming out. That's always an amazing day for authors around the country when that occurs. But getting back to Jeffrey Epstein, I don't anticipate the president doing this with much fanfare. In fact, I am concerned about the prerogative given to the Department of Justice to scrub the files and not be fully transparent. We do know that there's no daylight between Pam Bondi and the wishes of Donald Trump. And so I don't expect the full reckoning of the Epstein files. The irony is that there are 2 pieces of irony. The first is that the person who asked for the full release of the Epstein files on the political stage was Donald Trump back in 2015. Second, you hear the Republican talking points about Jeffrey Epstein and fundraising with Democrats and communicating with his member of Congress and Stacey Plaskett during a conference hearing. But that's vastly different, and Republicans are conflating the issue on that point, and they're hoping to muddy the water because the question is and surrounds the untoward activity Jeffrey Epstein had with his guest on Epstein Island, the untoward activity that others may have participated in, the fact that he was or is the most notorious child sex offender we've had come across the stage in a very long period of time, and people want to know the relationships about him and with him during that time period. It's not about who he was giving money to, although that's a problem, and it's not about him communicating with a member of Congress. It's a little bit deeper than that, and they just want to muddy the water.
You guys are both good strategists and authors, and I didn't even know the books were right behind you, Bakari, when I was calling you a successful author. But Bakari, just first to you, what is the risk if the Justice Department doesn't come right out with these files, if it tries to parse them out or none out? What's the political risk for them there?
And first, Mr. Berman is two-time New York Times bestselling author. I mean, just to be completely accurate here. But the risk is, we've seen the risk. I think we've seen the risk. We've seen the GOP influencers just with the binder on Capitol Hill running out of the White House saying, we have something, we have something, we have something. And then they didn't have jack. And I think you saw the pushback from the right wing. I think you saw the pushback from the MAGA base. It appears the only thing that can separate MAGA from its leader is Jeffrey Epstein, which is kind of interesting on its face. They spent all these years just with conspiracy theories about Democrats and pizza parlors molesting children that never came to fruition, and now they refuse to actually hearken with the true issue of Jeffrey Epstein. It's rich.